So we're on our way back to Kalamazoo. Say hi to Ben.
Hi to Ben.
And also Jackson. And we have 4 goldfish with us today. And those are the 4 blind goldfish. They're going to be moving into the 45-gallon that is already established. You can hear the cicadas singing. That is already established at Ben's house / my house. But I live in 2 places, so sort of my house. That means that we're going to move Tony and Carmela, the big rescued goldfish that are definitely too big for the 45-gallon now, into a 90-gallon that I've been setting up. That's going to be a separate video. This video is just going to be moving the blind goldfish. I wanted to include a quick clip of how I put them in their bags before we got going into the car. So the goldfish are down here. In my experience, keeping them in something that's like malleable, like a plastic bag, and then putting them inside of something where the bags can be contained is better than just putting them inside of something that has like hard edges, like a critter keeper or like a bucket or something like that, because the water is allowed to move with the bag instead of like splashing up against the side. I have 2 goldfish in one and 2 goldfish in the other, and then I just have like their food, the net. They have about an hour and 15 minutes, and then we have to, of course, temperature and drip acclimate them. How do you feel about having more goldfish at your house?
Good. I love fish.
Good. I love fish. They're cool.
Yeah, I like fish.
Good to know. Good to know.
First.
You heard it here first.
Big fish fan.
Big fish fan?
And I like the band fish.
There's a band called Fish?
Yeah, with the PH.
I don't know that one.
I like the jam band. Oh, look at all that furniture.
Look at all that furniture. You're like a grandma.
This.
Look at the antiques. Guys, look at the garage sale.
Yeah. There's a guy having a garage sale with some very nice old furniture.
Very nice old furniture.
Yeah, so I was like 3 or 4 vintage Toyota 4Runners from my cousins.
Okay.
Cool guy.
All right. Well, we have about an hour and 15 minutes, which for you guys will be 3 seconds. See you then. So I have the goldfish in here in a bucket of water from home with a air tube so that they can have some extra oxygen. They're gonna stay in here momentarily while I get these guys ready to go in their tank. I'm gonna go test the water in the other tank. Then I'm gonna have to take them out, put them in bags, and then acclimate them via like temperature and water. And then we'll get back to these ones because they're gonna go in this tank. So we've got all 4 temperature acclimating right now, which should be pretty close to what they're already at because this tank and this holding area are in the same room. These 4 have settled in like immediately and are sifting through the sand, which makes me so happy because I really believe that substrate is an enriching part of a fish's life. And all 4 of them are proving that. A minute ago, they were all down there. You're probably going to see it again here in a second. I did take the driftwood out of this tank. I felt like it'd be too much for how blind they are. That's probably a better way to say that. But I felt like it would just be too much for them with the move. They haven't had sand and plants with me before, so I wanted to give them that first and then move on to giving them driftwood. So in the future, we'll give that a shot. But also, sorry for the background noise. Ben is cooking dinner. But yeah, they're doing okay. All this poop is from the other goldfish. That's why it's so much bigger. But it's a fully cycled tank and I wasn't about to, not take advantage of that. Plus now they're living at the house they're supposed to be living at. And one day, ouch, one day they will be in the tank with Tony and Carmela. Also, don't mind all the algae and stuff. Like, I haven't bothered to scrub the tank because it really doesn't bother me and it's not bad for the fish. So I'll just scrub it on the next water change. I really didn't want to disrupt too much of the goings on moving them in. I just wanted to make it nice and simple. So this is their first feeding in their new habitat. They did exceptionally well, no notes. They ate super well. Everybody found their food. And then there's another clip of them eating. And then it moves on to a clip that it needs an introduction, but I don't have one. Of basically, I did a water change in the tank. And then Dorothy decided to swim up into the python water changer. So you'll see that here in a second. It was a little scary. Nope. I am so glad I was standing here and didn't walk away, because when I do water changes for the big fish, I just leave this in here and I walk away and go do house stuff and check on it every like a minute and a half, 2 minutes, whatever. I'm just tidying up, come back, see how much water come out. I'm glad I didn't leave for this tank, because Dorothy just swam right up inside the tube, and I was like, and I thought maybe she would get the hint that like, oh, there's borders, and she just kept swimming up, and I was like, nope. So I went to grab for the tube, and as I was grabbing for it, she got like, it's not a terribly strong like suction, but she was up there, and I was shaking it, and she wouldn't come out. I was like, cool, I gotta turn the whole thing off. She's fine. It's just like, what the heck? Oh my gosh. Okay. Not a problem I had with either of the other goldies. And they were definitely, I think, they could have fit up inside the tube when I put them in here back in October. I guess they said that's enough water to be taken out. Pull the thing out of the water, it breaks the suction, and so it's not going to pull up any more water. So I'll just, you know, scrub the sides and stuff now. Anyways. I'm gonna, you know, account this to her having no eyes. Like, she can't tell where she's going. But I figured, like, she would recognize that there was walls there, and like a suction, and she's like, I'm going home. I am no longer an earthling. Just getting sucked right up. I was like, okay. And it's not that strong. Like, she swam into it, and then swam her whole wen. By the way, she has a wen. So I told everyone she's a fantail. She's growing a wen. In fact, they are all growing wens. So they might just be really poor quality Orandas. I don't know. And then this little orange one's already getting it too. So I don't know, you know, maybe they're all gonna be Orandas, which is funny because like aesthetically Orandas are not really my thing. So I'm gonna have 4 of them. So I thought I would give a refresher about the backstory of these 4 blind goldfish. So back in February of this year, 2025, if you're watching in 2026, let me know in the comments. But in 2025, in February, I found them for rehoming on Craigslist, and they had listed, you know, there's multiple blind goldfish. It wasn't 4 at the time, it was 3. And so I reached out and I kind of explained my situation, and they explained the background, which is that another fish at the store literally ripped their eyes out. And so the pet store employee took them home to give them medication to heal them, and they were just asking for the cost of medication. Because they were located nearly 2 hours away from my house in Indiana and even further from my house in Michigan, I had to kind of arrange a pickup time that was in the future so I could also make sure that they healed properly 100% and that I established a cycled aquarium for them. And while that waiting period happened, I was asked if I could take in a 4th one, which was the Oranda Sophia, and then we picked up all 4 of them in April. I've had people ask if they're completely blind. Yes, they literally don't have eyeballs. There's just healed skin where their eyes used to be. And I've had people ask how they find their food. They actually have a great sense of smell, and so they're able to find their food that way. If you have any questions about the setup of the 45-gallon, I have a couple videos, one about Tony and Carmela, and another about how we reestablished, rehabilitated, oh shoot, what's the word? I'm definitely leaving this in. Oh my gosh. Renovated, how we renovated and restored, there you go, a vintage 45-gallon aquarium that I found on Facebook Marketplace. And that's the aquarium that they're currently living in. So if you're interested in seeing the changes that I made to the tank and the initial setup, as well as the acquisition of Tony and Carmela, the rescued goldfish, I will leave those videos linked on screen and below. Looks like Sophia was first to find the food today, and also Dorothy. But Dorothy is first to find the food every day. She's big, she's boisterous, she's got a big appetite. Blanche still hasn't made it over. Rose got one mid-air, I think. Oh, hi, Sophia. And that's Rose who's eating right now. Blanche is doing her best. She feels it. She knows they're here. She's gonna make her way over here. She can see they're quickly sucking in and spitting out the sand because they're looking for their food. But I put it in the same place every time, so I wish that would maybe make a difference for some of them, but oh goodness. There you go. Good job, Blanche. When I spoke to the person who healed their eyes, essentially like took them home from the store they worked at and healed their wounds, because there's no eyes, I guess I should say, didn't heal their eyes, but healed their sockets, their orbital sockets, or whatever they're called on fish. I messaged them sometime later when I noticed that Dorothy was growing a wen, and I was like, hey, I think that these are Orandas. And I was like, doesn't really matter, but I just was curious if that was a possibility or is there something else going on? And so I like sent them pictures and they were like, yeah, that's, you know, looking like an Oranda. And they had said when they came in, they didn't have wens. The only one that did was the one in the back. But they also mentioned that these fish are small. Like, they're not growing because they still have some, I believe, from, you know, the first group that all lost their eyes. I only took 4 because I only had space for 4. That means I didn't want to be irresponsible and take more than that. Although I wish in hindsight maybe I had taken 1 more because I love them so much. But this is fine. There's not 5 golden girls, there's 4, so it's fine. So anyways, they had said that they are growing slower than the others. And my thought was like, well, they find food plenty well. Like, this all disappears. It might take longer than like Tony and Carmela's food pile to disappear, but it disappears. There's one thing to say for anybody who has blind goldfish and any pets in general, any fish in general, make sure you always clean up uneaten food. But in the case of blind fish, give as much time as possible for them to get that food. It does start to affect water quality if you just leave uneaten food in there all the time. It's an issue I had actually pretty early on when I was keeping them. I had a nitrate spike in the water, so I had to deal with that. But I just wanted to make sure that they were going to get as much food as they needed, considering there's 4 of them and they all don't have eyes. So like, they can't find it with their eyeballs. But luckily, their other senses are pretty strong. So, okay, Dorothy, you're such a bully. She's not the only one that does it, but because she's the biggest, you know. I mean, Blanche is catching up to her in size. Although I will say Blanche has that fused top fin. So instead of being a full fantail, like you see Dorothy's come apart at the top, Blanche's does not. And Rose comes apart at the top, and so does Sophia. Blanche is the only one that has that fused top one. As you can see, it only comes apart at the very tip. Okay, Rose, upside down. Good job. It's just considered like a defect that happens when 2 fantails are bred together, if I remember correctly. I did some research about it in goldfish forums. When I first noticed that, I was like, in addition to being blind, possibly low quality Arandas, she also has like a fin situation here. But yeah, that's okay. You know, I'm not in it for high quality fish. They're all blind. They all don't have eyes. Like, that would technically make them a low quality, I think. Unfortunately, because I don't think there's anything low quality about them just because they don't have eyes. But I understand if someone's looking for like a beautiful fish, they might be looking for one that has eyes. But me personally, I think that they're perfect. And I wish, of course, they had their eyes, because I'm sure it was, you know, a traumatic experience to have their eyeballs ripped out of their faces by one of their own brethren, you know. But nothing to be done about it, really. Changes I've noticed. This one, Rose, is much more outgoing. They're all enjoying swimming in the plants, and they haven't had any issues yet, like with, you know, like not being able to find their way or cutting their fins up on like the little plastic ones back there. I think in another week or so, I'll be giving them their driftwood, which is up there. Also, if you wanted to know, that is the food that I feed them. It's a very large container because we go through it with 2 goldfish tanks. Welcome to my messy hair, messy kitchen. I'm trying to put the Python water changer hose adapter thing on here, and it's always such a pain in the butt, and it makes me so angry. But I have to just keep it cool. Yay, I got it! I had like a bunch of other stuff to do. I ran into some issues with stuff. My bearded dragon suddenly developed a super strange like skin bacterial infection that is like horrifying, and it freaks me out, and I have no idea how. It's like, I had a bearded dragon for 8 years, okay? I've kept bearded dragons for over 10 years now. I think it's 11 years this year. Never did Franklin cause me any problems until he got diagnosed with cancer, and that's like literally not his fault, not anyone's fault. But now I'm like, with the last couple of bearded dragons I've had, it's been like traumatic, so traumatic. So she's here, she's downstairs, she's on medication, both topical, and I have to give her injections. And now I'm gonna do water changes in this fish tank to keep my mind busy because your girl's got anxiety. I was at the vet 3 times last week. Anyways, my middle part is killing me. My hair is long, my bangs are long. Look at the mess. Do you see? I'm gonna do water changes, and then you'll get to see me make magic happen and put like driftwood and stuff in here. Okay, bye. Don't mind my kitchen, it needs to be renovated. As you can see, it's got like ugly old linoleum, got an ugly sink, got an old everything. We got everything bad except the cabinets. I redid those. But anyways, oh, this end has to go. I'll show you how this works. Nasty sink that needs to be replaced. I can't wait for it to happen. Twist. That looks like it's on askew. Let's try again. Getting it hooked up in the basement is like a 3-second process. Getting it hooked up here is not, and it's the bane of my existence, yeah. Okay. Then, when you want to fill it, this part has to go up. Right now we're draining it, so that part stays down. You hear that noise? That means it's ready to go. Turn off the filter. Now I have to stand here because last time I did water changes, the fish swam up inside. Dorothy did, and that was very silly of her. So I'm just gonna stand here, listen to some YouTubes. Eventually the water's gonna get there. You'll see it moving. Here it goes. Yay, the awful sound is gone. Okay, I'm literally still decorating and my hands are soaking wet. I just had to grab my phone and I just missed it, but we had little Rose, as you can see right there. She's already trying to like bite off of driftwood and these plants I just put in, which obviously they don't have anything yet, right? So in time it'll grow some fun stuff for her to eat off of, but everyone's doing okay. So we're gonna keep going. I need to add a plant in the back and maybe I'll add some cute little bottom ones here because I have these that came in a pack. And they have like little red and yellow on them. I thought that's kind of cute because my plants in the back, like those 2 yellow ones up top, I have one that I'm gonna put back there that has red on it. So I was like, maybe, you know, I'll do that and then it'll like match, but I don't know where I'm gonna put them. So yeah, this is what we got going so far. It doesn't look like much, but give it time. So here's the tank a day later. I waited for everything to kind of settle, and for the goldfish, I wanted to see how they did before I like showed you guys and took it apart. It's a little too busy, I think, having these 2 pieces here that are like touching the driftwood. I'll probably take them out, but I thought, you know, let's give it a shot. So as you can see, the goldfish don't really mind. Yesterday they spent a lot of time at the surface, I think because they're used to like when they hit a barrier, they think it's the edge of the tank, and now there's also a piece of wood in here that's a barrier. So I think they're still learning, but as you can see, they're swimming around a ton, doing just fine. That was Rose. There's Dorothy and Blanche and Sophia. Yeah. I can get far enough away to get the whole thing, and my little duck up there. Yeah, they're doing just fine. Blanche. There's Rose. And Dorothy in the back. Who's, well, as you noticed, her wen has grown quite a bit. And something to note about Sophia is that one of her nares has like a little black spot on it. That's normal. She has a little black stripe on her tail, but now she's getting like darker, like the black is changing color since she's been in this tank, which is super fun to see. Everybody else is pretty much the same, other than growing wens. And Rose has been, like, I've loved the difference in her personality. Rose really loves enrichment. Rose is all about having stuff to do. She's way more active. I feel like I see her doing a lot more in this tank than in the kind of bare 40 gallon they were in before. And they had space, but they didn't have enrichment. So it's their first feeding. And Sophia already found food. As you can see, she's up here eating it. And then Blanche and Dorothy have already found food. That's great news. We got Rose. Rose eventually will figure it out. She's all over there though. Oh, there you go, Rose. You're almost there. Good job. Oh, Sophia's stuck in the plant a little bit. There she goes. Come on back down. Oh, good job. Almost right on the money. Keep going. Good job. So I thought I was ready to post this video. And then it's been, I don't know, over a week now since I've added the driftwood. And I noticed that since adding the driftwood, that's like the only element that's changed, right? As I added driftwood and I added a couple plants. This morning I saw Blanche like going after Sophia incredibly. Like pushing her around, bumping her into stuff. And so when I noticed that, I actually put my hand in the tank to separate them because I was like, is Blanche doing this because like she's blind and like she just keeps bumping into her? And I'm like, no, she's like targeting her. Like she was right up against her, pushing her around. And I haven't seen that behavior when it's not feeding time before. And it was like early in the morning. It was like 6:30 a.m. like when I'm sending Ben off to work. And I was like, that's so weird that they would just start doing that. And now Sophia has like a rip in her fin. So now I'm like, okay, what are my options? Do I separate them? Do I remove the driftwood? And honestly, I think that's what I'm gonna have to do. I think I'm just gonna have to take the driftwood out. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. It's the only thing that's changed. They were fine and everything was like nice and open. And they're not even that different in size. Like Blanche and Sophia are about the same size. The only one that's small in this tank is Rose, and she's almost the same size as Blanche and Sophia. The biggest one, of course, is Dorothy. That's a bummer. I really never experienced that before, but they are blind. I don't know if that makes a difference. I don't really see them bump into it that much, but they were bumping into it today when they were chasing around. So I don't know if it was the driftwood that cut her fin or if it was a plant. Such a bummer. The good news is that like with clean water conditions and like all the parameters being right, which they are, I just tested the water yesterday, then she should heal up just fine. But still, like, this is not what I want. At least the good thing is when they go into the big tank with Tony and Carmela, the driftwood there is like really not complicated. Doesn't have a bunch of like winding pieces. Anyways, doesn't have a bunch of like winding pieces and stuff they can get cut up on. So I think what I'm going to do to be extra safe right now is I'm going to take out a couple plants and the driftwood. Super fun. I wasn't planning on doing a water change or anything, so that means I'm going to have to get in there with my whole arms. And this tank is very tall. So basically, wow! So basically what it means is I have to stand on a chair to be above it. I have to put my whole arm in, and you know, where your arm ends is a boob for some people. I happen to be one of those people. And I learned this the hard way when I first decorated this tank, is that if you don't take some of the water out, your boob is... You know? So... And I just showered, if you can't tell by my very... Well, it's partially dry, partially wet hair. Ugh! It's a good thing I didn't moisturize or put deodorant on yet. Fantastic. Just add this to my list of things to do today. I already have to go feed all the frogs, and I have to film some content, and I have to edit content, and I have to feed a bunch of animals. And it's like, this is why I'm recording it, right? So that people know kind of what my experience has been, the struggles that I've had, you know, with like, wow, he's laying really weird. Look at that. Why is your arm like that? Weirdo. Anyways, you know, I don't know how many other people keep blind goldfish, for example. So my bad, I don't want to say bad experience, my experience that has some bad moments in it, such as like the nitrate spike when it first got them and was like learning how to feed them, or, you know, this situation currently with the driftwood. At least if I put that out there, other people can learn from my experience. I'm gonna let them finish eating before I do that. I'm gonna go do some other chores. Yay. Oh, what are you doing, sir? You were just sleeping, weren't you? Don't look at me like that, you creepy. Try not to get your boob wet challenge. Luckily, we're getting close. When I have to reach the back of the tank, I think it might be more of a problem. 1. Oh my gosh. I'm still not wearing deodorant for any of those concerned. The fish are not getting any chemicals. My skin doesn't have lotion on it. Okay. Yeah. I may put these ones back in there because they're so pretty. I would love to be the kind of person who can do like a live planted tank, but I'm gonna try that first with my frogs and my axolotl Harry before trying it with goldfish, because I've heard goldfish eat all of it. So I'd really love how to keep them alive. Like, I'd love to know how to keep aquatic plants alive first, and then, you know, deal with the fact that my goldfish might kill them all anyway. So, whew. Big piece of driftwood. Goldfish in the way? No, they are not. Okay. This is a pretty cool piece of driftwood, I'm not gonna lie. I'm always thinking, I'm always planning, and I love seeing people with their live planted aquariums, and I'm gonna be one of those people at some point. I just, I'm still working on that, developing that skill, you know? I don't have that skill yet. What is it? Is it poop? I just picked up poop. Incredible. And the boob is dry. Great success. Whew. Now my arm is jiggling. Also, you see my tattoo? Look how beautiful. I have a lot of tattoos, by the way. A lot of tattoos. And I will only be getting more. Now I'm gonna water my moss poles, so I figured I'll just keep the bowl out. Anyways, one day this will have different fish in it, right? And so when that time comes, I'll be able to put different types. I hate when people send you spam texts. Someone said, haven't you arrived yet? I don't go anywhere. You're not gonna get me using one of those texts. It should have been like free lizard. Then maybe I'm, what you mean free lizard? You know, stupid. They don't know who they're catering to. They need to study their audience. Anyways, I'm gonna go water my moss poles, and I'm pretty sure that'll be like the end of this video. I already planned to end it before, but then of course had this unfortunate update. So luckily, Sophia's fin is all healed up. There's no longer a tear, and there hasn't been any other problems. So with that, I am finally ending this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, all the good stuff, and farewell.